Hello, Void Dwellers. I honestly tried most of my life to be optimistic and have faith in humanity. I was a hardcore hippie throughout my young life. In Israel, a famous song from the 70s says, "You and I are going to change the world. They said it before us, it matters not, because you and I are going to change the world." And I truly, obnoxiously naively, believed in it. I have to admit I'm not there anymore. It has been eroding for years and years now, as I saw humanity given more and more opportunities to become better and keeps missing them all, choosing the wrong path all the time. Of course, my entire belief in the human race absolutely collapsed after the 7th of October and the response to it by half of the world. And now, well, let's just put it this way. When I watch a movie like Independence Day now, I root for the aliens. Throughout the years, I've watched every aspect of reason and morality being eroded and discarded by people. And I know this is a very generic thing to say, and people from the right and from the left say that exact same thing about each other. So let me just tell you all right now, you're both right. It's done by both sides. But don't blame the politicians, especially if you live in a democracy. Sure, the media has a lot of the blame, as I keep saying on this channel, and some systems need improvement, but at the end of the day, in an open-to-all democracy and even in an undemocratic places that allow the leader to continue without rebelling against them, the leaders of the country are a reflection of the people. But that doesn't mean that if your leader is a bad person, the people as a whole are bad people. It's not evil people supporting evil leaders. It's stupidity supporting leaders who are ill-fitted for the job because they are not elected or supported for their logical compatibility with what the job requires, with what the issues are, but because of shallow moronic things that hit the right triggers in people's minds, identical to the way advertising works. And the truth is that there is a majority of humanity who are simply not great at reasoning and logic. I have seen the stupidity of people, the sheep thinking, the inconsistency. Hell, I recently had someone calling me a snob because I dared to say that a dog and an ant do not have the same brain structure as each other, and both do not have the same brain structure as humans, and therefore all three creatures have different mental capacities. Wow, what a snob! I've seen people turn terms on their heads just to make them fit some ridiculous narrative or to justify some evil shit that they just want to do. I mean, Christians didn't think they were evil for committing atrocities during the Crusades. They thought they were saving souls. And speaking of, Christianity was always a stellar example of that inconsistency that I'm talking about. Here's a religion where the main guy is a fucking liberal hippie. He's talking about love and against greed and turning the other cheek. The guy was a Jewish Gandhi, basically, all the way to being executed by people who saw his influence as a threat. And in his name, the supposed followers of his teachings committed horrific crimes, genocide, persecutions, atrocities. Christians even murdered each other over stupid shit like, was he the son of God or God himself? Or should the Pope be his representative or not? Fucking idiotic shit that doesn't have anything to do with the original message, because that's people. They're inconsistent. They can't follow through. Hell, the mafia was always very Christian. They even use the images of saints when they make new members, because, Jesus was all about, protection money. Totally. The inability of a large portion of the human race, a majority of it, in fact, to truly understand the meaning of terms and follow that meaning in a consistent manner is the one reason this species is not the point of creation. Why there cannot be a God, if there is in fact such a thing, who looks down upon this creature and goes, "Yep, perfect creation." No, most of us are fucking idiots. And I thought things were getting better as a kid, but they're not. It's just dressing. The real core of it hasn't changed. The internet didn't make people stupid. It just made it easier for all the village idiots of the world to come together and build their own villages. And pretty soon we discover that there is enough of them to build entire cities, countries, continents. And they just meet up on Reddit or Twitter and jerk each other off about this or that issue, always in a simplistic, boorish way, always talking in slogans and catchphrases, always dumbing down the conversation while patting themselves on the backs for how uniquely smart they are. It's like having that E equals MC square t-shirt. Like, most people who make these shirts and those who buy them, they can't even explain what the equation means. And no, it's Einstein, as some numbskull once told me when I asked them if they knew what it meant. He is not the correct answer. The equation does not mean Einstein. The entire species can be summarized in that quote that I keep repeating from Fight Club: how embarrassing, a house full of condiments and no real food. And now I heard people start referring to the expert class. The expert class. I imagine that little gem was there for a while, because I tend to hear these delightful little requiems for brain cells later than most people. So I just recently became aware of it, and oh boy, it's amazing how humans can always surprise me by finding a way to be even dumber than I thought they were to begin with. Expert class. Let's break this down. An expert is someone who has dedicated a significant chunk of their life to study a subject until they know it far deeper and more extensively than the average person. Surely that cannot be a bad thing now, can it? Oh, the stupid human creature begs to differ. Because people who do that, people who spend their time and money to properly study a subject, they are just classists. They are just better than the rest of us. They are snobs. What do they know that we don't know? And if you tell them, well, that thing that they studied and became experts about, well, then they'll just reach back, grab some shit, and throw it in your face before running for the nearest tree. I mean, people who watch my videos tend to be more on the rational side of things, so you guys know that if we put two human groups in two islands, one with people who rage against the expert class and one with actual experts, and let them both survive on their own, the island with the experts will flourish and eventually come up with ships and spread to other places, and the island with the TikToker influencers will be on fire and uninhabitable within 2 days. To people with actual two brain cells that can communicate with each other, the point of having experts and listening to them is obvious. So I won't insult my void dwellers by explaining that to them like they don't know. But what I would say is that the only way to march this species forwards is to listen to Socrates and, most of all, Plato, and realize that democracy has to be remade. It cannot be a free-for-all. We can't let blind people drive because they might hurt someone, and we can't let morons do as they please and vote because they do hurt people all the time, everywhere. Every major conflict in the world right now and in the past 100 years is the result of morons being in power, morons following the morons that are in power, and in general the idiocy of the human race. And Plato saw this 2400 years ago. In his vision for the perfect state, he divides the state into three classes. What he called then philosophers, which are in our time would be the educated, the experts. And then they are the auxiliaries, which are the warriors, the guards of society. And the producers, which are the farmers, the manufacturers. But here's the thing. I presented them right now as classes. But in truth, what Plato believed was that these are not classes, as in something passed down by inheritance, but rather these are born capabilities and inherent qualities. So a farmer can be a parent to a philosopher, and a philosopher can be a parent to an auxiliary, and so on. One of the biggest lies of our era, pushed upon us for the sake of consumerism, is that everyone can be anything. Deep down we know that's a lie, but people want to believe it anyway. And Gen Z, who were fed that lie along with a study diet of never think critically or at all, find it especially difficult to let go. But the truth is that we're not all the same. We are born with different capacity for different things, and indeed different natural tendencies. I could have spent my entire life training to be a master martial art fighter, and now at 43 I would still be beaten by 12-year-olds. I'm just one of those people with very limited physical skills. It's just by the grace of God I can actually wipe myself. But I managed to pick up programming just by looking at code and figuring out what it does. I seem to have a natural talent for that. And on the other hand, I've known programmers who were brilliant, far superior programmers than me, but understanding simple civic truths, like the role of the Supreme Court in a system that separates powers, or indeed why we need to separate powers to begin with, went completely over their heads. I met people in my life who were brilliant at things that to me are magic, like medicine or physics, but were completely incapable of noticing logical fallacies when we talked about morality or religion. The point is, we are all different people with different abilities and different tendencies. We are not all presidents and rock stars and tech bros, and we're not all plumbers and carpenters and builders, and we're not all musicians and artists and writers. We all have different attributes, and it makes sense that people would do what they know how to do. And the thing is, most of us don't really want to be something that we know we're not good at. But part of the decadence of this age is telling people that they are good at anything they set their minds to. Well, Doc Brown is wrong. And by selling this crap to people, they made people think they have to want to be a rock star or a president, otherwise they have no value. That's why the influencer is the most popular pursuit by Gen Zs. It's pretending you are important without actually having any talent or skill. And people used to know that they're not good at everything, and they were okay with it. I remember when in my late teens, someone told me, I don't want to think about the issues. That's why I vote. I assign them to think about the issues for me. And I was shocked. How can you not want to think about the issues? Because I was always very politically oriented. But then I heard it being said again and again by other people throughout my life. And I realized two things. One, people want the person with their hands on the wheel to be someone that they feel knows what they're doing. And two, people who don't want to think about the issues are probably not in the best position to decide who is the most qualified to deal with those issues. Politics and governance are skills, just like any other skill. Some people have it, some people don't. Some people are good at it, some people will never be able to follow it. And by the way, I don't mean good at politics as in good at scamming people, which is what it has now become in our modern, open-to-all, so-called democratic era. In the ancient world, politics was your ability to debate and give persuasive logical arguments and come up with real solutions to the problems of the day. It wasn't about who gets the media's attention and gets people voting for them because they are an outsider, and then the stable genius plays with the world's economy like a toddler who was just handed a fragile crystal ball to play with. The truth is that if only people who prove to have the cognitive capabilities to be logical and understand the actual issues that we deal with were allowed to participate in the elections of leaders, world leaders would have been very different today. And many conflicts and problems we wouldn't have. We would have been closer to an actual utopia. Why? Because anyone with any sense knows exactly what needs to be done. There's no problem of resources on the earth. There's enough for everyone to stuff themselves to death. Every single war fought today is pointless and stupid and serves no purpose at all. Every conflict can be resolved tomorrow as long as both sides are led by rational people who follow the same moral basis. And the moral basis of every philosopher in the world is the same, because with reason you can even reach that because it's ingrained into our genetic structure. And yeah, I know that I just said a sentence that probably all viewers will find strange at best, if not outright idiotic, because you don't have the context. So I'll make a different video about it, explaining what I mean. But the point is, with reason, there's no reason, forgive the idiotic pun, to not have a perfectly happy, progressive, content, and peaceful world, with room for everyone, and everyone gets full bellies, clean air, and a place to call their home. And that, along with all the comforts of the modern world, without giving up on Netflix and video games. The only reason we're not there is stupid. Is the fact that we let stupid make the decisions or influence them. It's the fact that our leaders have to cater to stupid. It's the fact that stupid controls the main source of information, the media, and turns it into disinformation. Until stupid is not taken out of the loop, nothing will become better. We as a species have a choice. We can either face reality and take on Plato's suggestion, letting people who know what they are talking about take the charge and make sure democracy is not being twisted by the participation of people who do not know what they are doing. Or we can keep going with our so-called open societies, all the way to the next war, disaster, pandemic, and eventually extinction. Seeing as I've lived amongst this species for 43 years now, I know what they'll choose, and I'm okay with that. After all, at this point, I'm rooting for the aliens.